All right, so this one's not a gaming topic, but it's one I've been wanting to talk about for a very long time because there's been a lot of shit that I've been wanting to say about Steak and Shake. This was a fast food franchise or quick service restaurant. I guess you could say it's one of it could be both potentially, right? That was very near and dear to my heart from since I was a kid. I absolutely loved eating at Steak and Shake. They had great food. They had a great variety of food. The prices were affordable. It was always good service. I mean, it was always one of my go-tos when it came to wanting to eat a burger. And now it's basically last on the list for me to get a burger. Now, there are a lot of reasons for that, and we're going to be discussing some of those. But the main reason, to be honest, is the quality of the food itself has just went downhill significantly over the past several years. So this isn't like a recent development. This is a problem that they've had for a while. But there are certain things that I want to bring up as we discuss this. So Steak and Shake has been around for a very long time. Since 1934 is when the first Steak and Shake opened. So they've been around for over 90 years, guys. Very long time, longer than McDonald's or Burger King or practically every other fast food restaurant. I guess White Castle might have been before them, but like Steak and Shake. For those that may not be aware, it's kind of mainly a Midwestern thing, I suppose. Although they have locations all across the country, I do believe. So essentially, you're getting they're called steak burgers. They're meant to be like high quality, thin patty beef burgers that you put on the bun, or you could do like a patty melt or something like that. They also serve like chili and hot dogs and typical stuff that you would expect from such a restaurant, right? So although this is not a recent thing, like I said, their qualities went downhill over the past few years. Like I said, from my personal experience, from all the Steak and Shake restaurants in the area, it seemed to be really good. And then at some point, the company decided to make changes to the food quality itself, using lower grade ingredients. They also really, frankly, didn't really cook the burgers as good as they used to. Lack of quality control on that. There's been the last several times that I've had Steak and Shake. Two of the last three times that I had it, the burger was undercooked, which is practically unheard of when you go to a fast food restaurant, right? I mean, we all have an expectation, like when it comes to like steak or whatever. Of course, a lot of people like rare or medium rare steak. You can't really do that for a burger. A burger does need to be well done, or at the very least, medium well. And they apparently haven't been doing that lately. And that's definitely like a safety issue. That's a concern, in my opinion. And it just doesn't taste as good like that. So I wanted to kind of discuss a lot of stuff because there was a very recent thing I happened to see on Facebook, which is just one of many things that they have going on here. So they have a special thing for Tesla drivers. They posted this on their Facebook yesterday. Tuesday hits different. Tesla Tuesday, 222 to 420. Oh, so they're also into the meme culture now, guys, which is not something you expect from this particular restaurant. If you're familiar with Steak and Shake, it's designed to look retro. Like we're talking about black and white checkerboard stuff, tiles and things like that. That was the style back then when they first founded the restaurant. And up until recent times, they have stuck with that style because it is part of their branding, and that's not something they do anymore. But let's go ahead and get into it. First 10 Tesla guests, free jar of beef tallow, which we're going to talk about the beef tallow here in a bit. Grass-fed or Wagyu, plus red hat. Does that sound familiar? All Tesla guests, free supersize upgrade on beef tallow fries. Tesla and Steak and Shake. Now, apparently, from what I understand, Tesla and Steak and Shake have some kind of partnership where Tesla has installed a lot of their superchargers at various Steak and Shake locations. I'm not sure if they actually did it at the local location, the one that's closest to me. I haven't been there in a few years, honestly. But um, yeah, that's kind of weird. I mean, we're talking about classic stuff. Like if you guys want to really go into the branding correctly, instead of doing this shit, you should have like classic car shows. You need people showing up with like 1950s and 1960s era vehicles and stuff like that, and have a car show at your restaurant. That would be something that the clients that would participate at going to the Steak and Shake would actually appreciate. But I digress. That's really kind of the smallest complaint that I have about this restaurant here. Let us talk about the beef tallow. Let me see if I can find. Yes, here we go. Steak and Shake gets political after switching to beef tallow fries. This is so they had actually announced that they were going to do the beef tallow in January of last year. But then RFK Jr. got on the case and they started pushing it as a MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, because, eating french fries is the ideal form of health, guys. I'm trying not to be too political about this, but their political content is part of the reason that I don't go there anymore. Although I would like to emphasize it's the quality. If it's the quality of the food, if they were still putting out banger ass burgers and fries and they were doing this political shit, it would be very cringe, but I would still go there because it's about the food for me. But like I said, the quality's down, and then they're also doing the cringy shit too. So they have this red hat, make frying oil tallow again, which by the way, you can go straight to their shop and get their hats. And they have other hats like Firecracker Barrel CEO, which we know that's old shit now. But there was that whole Cracker Barrel controversy. And Big Larry was right about Cracker Barrel. I'm not really sure what that means. But these are hats that they sell on their website. And again, it targets a very specific class of customer, which is a very bad idea. If you're wanting to make a business of selling burgers and fries, your customer should be anybody that is eating burgers and fries. So basically, everybody that's not vegetarian or vegan is your customer base. That is who you could sell your product to. So when you're doing this cringy stuff that is politically charged, you're automatically excluding yourself from a significant portion of consumers, which is a terrible business idea, mind you. It really is a terrible business idea. But this is the state of Steak and Shake in the year of our Lord 2026, which, as you could see here, I've got this article. They've closed 200 locations since 2018, which might not sound like a whole lot, except you have to keep in mind, at their height in 2018, they were at 626 stores. And as of 2024, they're down at 426. That is practically 1/3 of their locations that they closed in this span of time, which is a huge, huge decrease in the number of stores. I know they're talking about GameStop's closing 400 stores this month or something like that. Now that's out of, excuse me, a little bit, still recovering from the cold. That's out of over 3,000 locations. So not nearly the same number of drop in locations. But I digress. It's just absolutely insane how far they have fallen. Another thing that they're into, which I have their menu here, Bitcoin. They're into Bitcoin now, guys. They were pushing this Bitcoin shit right here, where they apparently have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Tell me, all of the 70-something-year-old people that fondly remember eating Steak and Shake as a kid, How many of them you think are into Bitcoin? I can't imagine very many. So there's that. And besides the quality of food, this is the big one for me. Because if you've been in the Steak and Shake the last couple of years, they do not have hostess anymore. They do not have waiters. They have these shits right here. A kiosk that you have to go to, a touchscreen kiosk, to put in your order for your food. Remember, this is a restaurant that is supposed to be designed for a retro aesthetic. A retro aesthetic that is like you're going to a local diner. It's supposed to look like a diner. You're supposed to get service like a diner. You're supposed to get food like a diner. Instead, they want you to order your food at the kiosk. And then when your order comes up, come and get the food. Before, the practice was you get to the hostess. They seat you. Back in the day when they still had smoking in the restaurants, they would ask you smoking or not smoking, of course. I'm sure they probably stopped that several years ago. But now it's just you go to the kiosk, you order your food on the kiosk, which, by the way, these kiosks have facial recognition. That's not something you get from the McDonald's touchscreen kiosks. So they're literally spying on you while you're ordering your food at this restaurant. Probably some kind of AI bullshit. Getting your biometric data just so you can order a burger and fries. Which prices have went up on everything. Let's be real here. The cheeseburger and fry used to be 4 for $4. They had 4 meals for $4. And one of those meals was the double and cheese with French fry. Now it's more than double that price. And it was not that long ago that it was $4 for this meal. We're talking maybe 7-8 years ago when I was still a frequent customer. They were still offering that deal back then. So the quality of the food has went downhill. The prices have more than doubled. They're doing this stuff where you no longer get actual service when you sit down at the restaurant. You have to self-serve now. Then we also have this thing where they're doing this fake faux patriotic bullshit, having all the stores install the largest American flags that they legally can at all their stores. They're spending all this money on trying to cater to a shrinking demographic of people because they're no longer just selling to people that want burgers. They're selling to people that want burgers and also fit these very specific molds. And then they don't even sell you good burgers anymore. And it's honestly aggravating. I mean, how long is it going to take for Steak and Shake to go out of business? I can't imagine they've got more than a couple of years, unless there is like one of these billionaires. I don't know who knows? Maybe Elon Musk or someone like that's propping them up, keeping them alive. I don't know. I can tell you that even though I live in a very red part of the country, that Steak and Shake, it doesn't get hardly any business anymore. I imagine they're probably going to be closed within a year or two. I can't see them lasting that long. And the numbers don't lie, guys. They just don't lie. I guess I'm going to get a drink of water. I kind of upset my throat a little bit, I guess, with this little crazy rant, but I just had to do it, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll be doing more gaming related stuff next time. Check that one. That's gaming related. And don't forget to take a look at the other one over there. The algorithm recommended that. And if you happen to enjoy this kind of content, be sure to subscribe. That's going to be the last line.